Banishers Ghost of New Eden is a single-player story-driven action role-playing game. In the game you take control of a pair of ghost hunters named Antea Duarte and Red McRat. The pair goes on a mission to investigate a small but haunted community named New Eden. I don't want to talk too deep about the story because the best thing about this game is the plot. The game has multiple endings, so you have to be very careful in your decision making. I personally was really blown away by the evil ending. It really is one of the better endings from recent games. I completed my first playthrough in around 18 hours. This included some side missions, but the majority of the side missions I still hadn't done. I think for the side missions you can add another 10 hours minimum, but since the game has multiple endings you will most likely have to do minimum 2 playthroughs, so overall the game length is pretty big. The game is open world, so you can decide yourself if you want to stick to the main story or if you want to explore and do side missions. I was surprised with how big the open world is. There's really a lot to explore. The world itself looks really beautiful. Many times I would just stand still and look around and just enjoy the view. The world has different areas, such as a snowy area or a beach area or a more rainy village. Also, the graphics of the game are really impressive. I was really impressed because the game is not developed by a AAA studio. Moving further to the gameplay is pretty basic. You have a melee attack and a range attack and some special attacks that have a cooldown. You play with Red or with Antea, and you can switch during battle. Red has a melee attack and also a rifle with which he can do range attacks. Antea has spirit abilities which allow her to do some special attacks such as a leap attack or a burst attack, but the best strategy is to keep switching between the characters to mix their attacks. I personally feel that the combat is lacking depth. Like if there were 3 or 4 more moves for each character, the gameplay would have been more fun. In the end, I was basically just using the same 2-3 moves all the time, and this gave it a bit of a repetitive feeling. Something else that I didn't like about the game was the lack of enemy variations. Throughout the game you keep facing the same enemies, a pirate, a wolf and some stone ghost. If they had added some more enemies, this would have kept the game experience a bit more exciting. Although the boss fights are really unique and awesome to do, especially the puppeteer and the final boss are very cinematic. Overall, I really enjoyed the game. The story is really good and I was really curious to know how the story would end, and finally when I got to the end my mind was blown anyway. So the game costs right now $60 and I would recommend to buy this game at launch. I give it an 8.